So, some interesting things have been happening this week with the whole noise and brouhaha going around about Trump's statements about the Second Amendment and the Second Amendment people, and liberals just salivating over all of this because they think that this is now the silver bullet that's going to take Trump down. He's inciting violence. He's encouraging people to take shots at Hillary. I don't know. You know, this reminds me of the Megadeth song "Lying in State." For those of you who like Megadeth, the lyric in the song, and it says, "Another manufactured crisis, keeping the people distracted." This is a classic case of that. This is nothing more than pure bullshit. And they're turning this into a big deal. And it's meaningless. It means nothing. And when it comes right down to it, what do you say? He said, if Hillary gets elected and she picks Supreme Court judges, the Second Amendment's gone. And there's nothing you could do about it, although maybe the Second Amendment people can. Now, you have to read pretty deeply into that to perceive a threat, because I really don't see it. I don't see any implied threat of violence in there. And to quote our great FBI director, James Comey, no self-respecting prosecutor would ever touch that case. And if it's not prosecutable and it's not worthy of even being investigated, why the fuck are we talking about it? He said something that was insightful. Well, remember back in 2008 when Hillary Clinton was running against Barack Obama in the Democratic primaries, and she suggested that maybe somebody would shoot Obama. She referenced RFK's assassination as justification for her not dropping out of the primaries, literally suggesting, why should I drop out? Somebody might shoot the guy. And of course, liberals will tell you there's no incitement to violence with that, and there's no comparison between what she said and what Trump said. And you know what? Bullshit on that. Liberals are not immune to saying the wrong thing. And they are more prone, much more prone to violence and violent acts than Republicans or conservatives. Look at how many violent protesters showed up at Trump rallies. And these were all hired hands. We already know now that these people were all sent there and they were all paid by the hour to go there and rile up the crowds and attack people, throw bottles and whatnot. Did you see any Trump supporters disrupting any Hillary rallies at all? Not once. Any Trump supporters disrupting Bernie's rallies? Not at all. But it was a common occurrence to see that at Trump rallies. And they like to say that, he brought it upon himself because he talks a lot of shit during his rallies. He's talking to people inside the arena that want to see him and want to hear what he has to say. And people showing up outside to violently, I wouldn't even say protest, but to riot in some cases, they're all liberals. This is all part and parcel to the way that these people think. You're going to tell us that Trump did something really wrong this time because he suggested somebody might shoot Hillary. Listen, actions speak louder than words. And I'll tell you what I see. Hillary Clinton and the DNC have openly embraced the Black Lives Matter movement. They've embraced that because they want votes. But BLM is a domestic terrorist organization. They're getting to be so violent that if they continue this way, they may actually devolve into outright guerrilla tactics. They're openly stalking police officers and shooting them, and they're not that far off from launching an all-out assault on a precinct. Don't be surprised when that happens, because it's probably going to happen eventually. And Hillary embraces them. And that's violence at its worst in this country. This is a breakdown of civil order, a breakdown of society, a breakdown of law and order, a lack of respect for the law, of lack of respect for the police who enforce the law, a lack of respect for police who have to do a job that is dangerous, a job that could get them killed every day they punch their time card. Yet Hillary and the DNC has embraced this movement as being part of the DNC because they want votes. And they don't care about the violence that BLM perpetuates and how chaotic our streets have become and how dangerous it is now for cops to even go to work. You tell me that Trump said something wrong, but he's alerting people to the fact that the Second Amendment is in danger. And it is. Because if Hillary puts any Supreme Court justices on the court, and chances are if she gets elected, she's going to pick not one, but probably a few over the course of a 4-year or an 8-year term, she's going to affect our way of life for 30 or 40 years. She very well could undermine the Second Amendment. It's a cautionary warning, and it really is. It's sad. It's sad that this is what the media likes to take up. This is what they consider to be newsworthy, and just like the song says, another manufactured crisis keeping the people distracted. The media has been in cahoots with the DNC throughout this entire election cycle. They helped rig the primary so that Hillary would win and that Bernie would lose, and they're trying to rig the general election right now. They're lying to us about these polls. I don't believe them one bit. You look at the crowds that go out to see Trump. He packs arenas to full capacity with overflow crowds outside that can't get in. When Hillary does rallies, they have to set up white noise machines and do some photoshopping to fill out a crowd that isn't there. He's filling up arenas. She's barely filling up the junior banquet room at the local Holiday Inn. People don't want to go to see her. They don't want to listen to her speak. And I don't think that there's enough people in this country that want her to be president that she can actually win. I think the polls are bogus. I think we're being lied to. I think that they are manipulating the polls as badly as they possibly can to try and feed us a pack of lies and make us believe that Trump has already lost. If you're a Trump supporter, you got to stay a Trump supporter. Don't listen to that bullshit. It ain't over till it's over. And this election day, we got at least two months plus to go. And anything can happen in that time. It just came out in the news just yesterday how the Clinton Foundation has now been discovered to have been peddling influence at high levels of the U.S. government to high rollers. Well, what a shocker that is. I mean, haven't we known that already? Do we need to be told that? Are you actually still going to vote for her knowing that she's been peddling influence in your government to the highest bidder, selling access to high-ranking people, to foreign governments, and maybe even Wall Street bankers? This is the kind of shit we're trying to put an end to. That's what Donald Trump represents. The Clinton Foundation is one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in the history of the country. It's a great big money pit. Money gets sucked in, goes into a black hole, and nobody knows where it goes. The FBI is not even investigating them. This has gone on long enough. I'm really tired of the media being in bed with the Democrat Party and trying to manipulate public thought and public opinion and trying to shove their point of view up our asses in a great big enema. It's getting to be enough already. We're supposed to assume that Trump and all of his supporters are all just a bunch of racist misogynists. Give me a break. Donald Trump is infinitely more qualified to be president of the United States than Hillary Clinton will ever be. and he has a much better temperament for the job. He might be a little bit rough around the edges, but that's what we like about him. Hillary is a career politician who is now at the pinnacle of her career, reaching for the brass ring, which is the presidency of the United States, which culminates a long career in politics. Donald Trump has not had a career in politics. He's doing this because he has something to offer. He presented an economic plan to stimulate growth in this country, to create a tax system that has 3 simple brackets for the poor, the middle class, and the rich, and to cut taxes for everyone across the board, to stimulate the economy, to stimulate growth, and to bring jobs back into the country. It's a real plan that's written by real economists that Trump brought onto his campaign. And of course, Hillary just dismisses that as just being more Trumpisms that are designed to make him richer. And these are policies that are just more trickle-down policies of the old Republican Party. I guess cutting taxes across the board is what she considers to be trickle-down. Her tax plan is a lot simpler, actually. I'll give her that. It's a very simple tax plan. It's called Soak the Rich. Yeah, we're not going to deal with all of that complicated stuff that Donald Trump wants to put forth in, renegotiating NAFTA and simplifying the tax code. We're just going to soak the rich. That's all. We're just going to tax them and bleed them as much as we can. And, that's class warfare for you. That's the way liberals think. I'm not rich. I'm not going to get soaked with her, we'll rob the rich to feed the poor tax plan. But I don't believe in that bullshit. I don't believe in confiscating people's wealth, confiscating money that somebody else earned. She also criticized Trump for making ties in China. And she gave a speech the other day and said, he doesn't make his ties here, which he says can't be done, but it's a lie. It can be done. I'm going to tell you, I have a little bit of knowledge on this, and I could tell you quite simply, it's not possible to manufacture goods in this country anymore. That's why nothing's manufactured here. That's why all of your electronic gadgetry, your TV sets, your iPads, and everything else you fucking buy is all made overseas because they can't be made here. You can't compete with overseas pricing. You can't. And I'm going to tell you how I know this. My father used to be in the handbag business. He manufactured handbags for years. He had a factory in Long Island City years ago, and he made handbags exclusively for Home Shopping Network. He had a pretty nice business going for a while. They were all American made with American labor, American goods, and every bag had a proudly made in the USA tag sewn into them. And eventually, Home Shopping Network cut him off. They were the majority of his business. They bought a lot of bags from him. And eventually they said, we can get better deals from China. We can buy in bulk. We can buy more for less. And unless you can compete with that, we don't need to buy from you anymore. Needless to say, his handbag factory shut down. He actually tried to consolidate business with one of his competitors who was also hurting, thinking that they would strengthen each other by combining their businesses, and that didn't work out for them either. They went out of business as well. So when Hillary Clinton says, Donald Trump can make his ties here in this country if he wanted to, she doesn't know shit. Hillary Clinton never created a job in her life. She never ran a business, never ran a company, never manufactured anything. She knows nothing from a first-hand point of view about what is involved with opening a factory in this country, trying to manufacture something and sell it on the open market and have to compete with China, which is dumping goods into this country. You think you're gonna open up a small factory somewhere in the city in New York, like there used to be hundreds and hundreds of small sewing shops in New York City. They're mostly all gone now because you can't manufacture here anymore. You think that you're going to manufacture, thousands of bags or thousands of ties and be able to sell them at a profit when the Chinese are going to dump hundreds of thousands of bags and hundreds of thousands of ties into this country at a profit margin which puts you into the red. And that's what happened to my father. In the end, he tried desperately to keep his company running and to keep his business going, and it was costing him money for every bag he made. Literally, there was no profit, and he was digging into his pocket to pay taxes, to pay payroll, to deal with the overhead, the electricity, the rent on the factory. It put him out of business. So don't listen to these left-wing liberal assholes who want to criticize someone like Trump for having goods made overseas, because right now, in the current climate, the way things are in this country, with our economy as it is, you can't manufacture anything here. It's not possible. I don't fault Donald Trump for making ties in China, okay? Let's talk about it again in 4 years after he's been president. And if he's still making ties in China at that point, then we'll call him to task. Because we want to make him our president so we could put an end to this shit with the Chinese dumping goods in our country and sucking our jobs out of the country. This is exactly why we need Donald Trump. Hillary is unqualified. The very fact that she sold influence through the Clinton Foundation disqualifies her to be president. I don't want to hear about Donald Trump's temperament and he's ill-mannered to be the president. Hillary Clinton is very well known to be ill-mannered. Anybody who's ever worked for her or worked around her will tell you she is not a nice person. She doesn't have a nice personality. She is not friendly to people, and she doesn't treat people around her very well at all. She is ill-mannered. She is ill-tempered. She is just a greedy person who has made herself rich through politics. I don't care that Donald Trump is rich, because he made himself rich in the business world. He's a builder. And if you're going to build something, you're justified in getting paid. You're justified in getting rich. If you build skyscrapers and towers and bridges and golf courses and whatever else that he's built, he's earned every dime that he's made. The Clintons, on the other hand, have gotten rich through politics, peddling influence, and selling their fucking speeches to Wall Street and foreign governments. Hillary should never be our president. Never forget that. Don't vote for her. Vote for Trump. Stay the course. Stay on the Trump train and continue to support Trump. Don't pay any attention to the polls. The polls are lying to you.